Some of them, since COVID, don't drive very well.
Right.
We have all these, they don't want to do it at night, and they just,
It's, yeah, I'm trying to, I tell so, oh, is this on? I don't know if this microphone is on. Oh, sorry. Um,
Hi, Jamie. Are you there?
Can you hear us? Testing. Testing, testing, testing. It's not showing on the screen. I want to see what she says. Did you hear me now? She's not hearing me.
Okay. Do you have your microphone on?
Yeah, I have the audio settings.
Where's your notes?
I have to look them up. The microphone is all the input, adjust microphone volume.
Well, did you have it? I don't know what level you had it at before.
I have it all the way up, and I have the speakers down. Because the speaker, testing. She said, did you hear the testing?
The Zoom goes through this, not this. I think.
The Zoom goes through this, and that's why the microphone. Can you hear me now? Testing. Testing. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Testing again. Are you hearing me now? Testing, testing, testing. We're not getting the captions. Do you remember how we got the captions with PowerPoint? Nothing specific. So can you hear me now? I'm talking into the microphone, switching out computers. Did you hear me now? Right now? Now, yes. Okay. Then it works with mine. Okay. Cross our fingers. This is going to last. I've switched computers. Are you hearing me now as I talk? I'm going to keep talking in a low voice. This goes through the loop. This is going to our captioner. And I have the same settings on both machines. So I have no idea why this one's working. Good. Okay, we're going to start with Melanie, and we should see the captions up on the screen then. Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, 1, 2, 3, testing. Good. Where's Melanie?
Jamie, can you hear me now?
Did we switch on yours? Okay.
Well, I'm not going to rush him. I'm not using this. No, we're not. So I'm free to do anything but her. So we're not doing anything. All right. Okay. Hi there, everyone. We're going to be getting started here. You can, we're, yeah, we'll kind of move your chairs around so you're facing this way. I actually wanted to not be behind a podium, but I didn't get a chance to practice this one more time, and so I'm still a little nervous, so I'm going to hide behind the podium. Sorry.
And we're not getting, there they are. No?
Okay.
Is it in back?
Are we getting the... captions? Are the captions up?
No.
Is this one of those reading contests? You can read it, you're a genius.
I don't know.
Well, we had it going perfectly like it was before.
Okay.
We're not receiving the captions. She said she's sending captions. She's hearing us, but it's not going through.
Okay.
We're having just a little bit of trouble with the caption, but we'll get it.
So,
I don't think I've ever been to a meeting where there hasn't been some technical problems.
And we need to be tech friendly, whether we want to or not. I just thought I would say something to see if the captions would come up again.
I don't know, but like I know sometimes like when we're on Zoom, we'll share the PowerPoint and then share and we'll have the captions inside. Can't do that. We have to have she's not getting that. So
Well, I'm not very good. I'm a lousy student. I didn't know all the lessons. You didn't do the lessons? So it took me well over a year.
like if this computer, does this computer have Zoom on it?
Yeah, but the Zoom is only used to get her the sound. And then one Fusion is used to caption it. So, because one computer does the projection, and one does the sound.
Can't do both on the one.
Not with this setup. This is the host. That's me. More. Who is host? Host. Stewart. Admit. What's good? We're still not seeing captions.
Automatically join with the audio by computer.
But then we're not. She's getting the audio now. She's not being able to send the captions. So I tell you what we're gonna do.
We've had a number of people ask about
Can you hear us now? Small victories.
Good job, Pat.
Actually,
Let's give Pat a round of applause.
well, this is actually, and also Jamie. Jamie is our remote captioner, and she went through a problem-solving process that we couldn't go through, and together we've got it up and running. So yay. So yay, I'm gonna plug in the power so we don't lose power now. And we're good.
Things happen. I mean, we don't always.
We know.
Yay.
Oh, and I'm. That's okay. Come on in. Oh my goodness. Good afternoon and welcome. Thank you to Pat
And Jamie, because she.
and Jamie, who is our remote captioner. So if you've been to meetings in the past, our captioner has been here, but because there's so much business for captioners that's going on with people with hearing loss besides other captioning they do, that we have decided to go to remote captioning. So Pat troubleshooted with Jamie, and we've got captioning here. So that's really exciting. The other thing that this church provides is an induction loop. So those of you that are familiar, who have heard about an induction loop, know that you need to have a telecoil in your hearing aid or your cochlear implant. You turn on that telecoil and you can hear the sounds directly to your devices. So that's the other way we make it accessible, but it's nice to have the cart captioning because people could read what's being said. So I'm going to give a little presentation. I normally don't speak very long at these meetings, but I do have some things I want to share with all of you as members. So first of all, I am Melanie O'Rourke. I'm the president of the chapter. I'm the one that you get the emails and the email reminders from, and I will not stop sending reminders. So it's, you know, if you get it again and you already know there's a meeting, that's great. But some people, you know, need that extra reminder to come. I'd also like to introduce the rest of our board members. So Fred Williams, raise your hand, Fred, is our vice president. And also Fred, during the time of COVID, when we had all Zoom meetings, Fred started a Zoom book club meeting. So we are continuing with that, and that will be, Fred will talk about that a little bit after the presentation, but that will still be on Zoom. We also have our treasurer is Pat Williams, and Pat also is our technology person for our meetings. This is not an easy process to get together, but we have it. And then we have Stewart, who is with First Presbyterian Church, so he's our connection here too. So we have lots of technology to get connected, to make it all work, to make this meeting accessible. And then we have Shannon Tyree. Shannon started out as our secretary and has since graduated to being our flyer designer, our newsletter designer. What else, Shannon? Our website manager. Anything else? anything that needs some help, we shoot an email to Shannon and see, can you help us? She also has her hearing service dog here, Riley, who is, she and Riley, Riley's certified now, right? Riley's certified?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so Shannon actually does training with Diamond Dogs, which is an organization here in Phoenix that trains you and your dog as a hearing service team. And if you want to know more about hearing service dogs, talk to Shannon. You can also talk to me about it, but I'll probably be busy talking about something else to someone else. So she's a good person to connect with. Okay. And at any time, if you have questions about anything, please ask all of us. That's why I wanted to introduce the board to you. The West Valley chapter is a local chapter of National Hearing Loss Association of America. So that's the chapter that we are a part of here. And I think some people maybe are a little confused about that, like we're just a support group here, but we've got a big national organization that does a lot of accessibility issues for us in Washington, D.C. And so they take care of things like captioning with televisions, captioning with anything that now they are working with getting more captioning on that. They need to go through different laws and your state representatives. Occasionally you may get an email from me that says, please read this email, contact your state representative and send them an email and let them know that you would like them to pursue this issue for accessibility for people with hearing loss. So that is a big part of the National Hearing Loss Association of America. The idea of local support groups came about by the founder, Rocky Stone, about 43 or 44 years ago, when he felt that people with hearing loss needed support in just talking to different people, of finding out what works for you and what you do with your hearing, how accessories work better for you, and all of that. And now, as we have seen with our iPhones and our smartphones, with apps, there is no limit to what you can get help to be more accessible with hearing. So his idea was to start these smaller local groups that would get together and not always have a person presenting, but that would have people have the opportunity to talk to each other and find out what works better for you and what works better for this other person. Also, if you're in that position to go from a hearing aid to a cochlear implant, this is a good place to talk to people that have made that change and get some idea of how that is being helpful. But I also wanted to kind of get back to a couple of other things with our chapter. Barbara Kelly is the executive director of the Hearing Loss Association of America. And if you join National HLAA, which has a website, www.hearingloss.org, and become a member of the national group, one of the benefits is getting a Hearing Life magazine. It comes out quarterly. And so it shares this information that the executive director and the board members are working on in Washington, D.C. with legislation to get more accessibility for people with hearing loss. But what she noted in the most recent Hearing Life magazine was that communication and connectedness are vital to our mental and physical health. And we very much agree with that, our board members. We know that individuals come to this support group to gain information and education about communication, about hearing loss, about hearing health, and different hearing devices. They also come to be recognized as individuals who are seeking out this information. And they come to belong to a group that understands hearing loss, to share their stories, to socialize and connect. And in this experience that we had before our little captioning issues, you are the reason we are here as a local group. So due to COVID, during these past few years, the board changed the way we met people, and we did a lot of our chapters on Zoom, and we had different presenters. And as I mentioned, Fred Williams introduced a monthly book club gathering, and there are a number of individuals here that have been a part of it. So again, if you want to know about that book club, talk to Fred to get on his email roster list, or ask any of the members here, are you a part of the book club, and what do you do? We usually read a book about hearing loss, it's been primarily, and discuss it. And of course, that always led everyone to their own issues of, boy, that was helpful for me because I have that issue and I never thought of handling it that way. So you got that very personal connection. Okay, so the West Valley chapter here is beginning its 41st season. And we make a priority to have accessibility for our meetings to individuals with hearing loss. And initially, when this chapter got started, they were very firm on having the induction loop, so much so that they could not find a meeting room where they could put the induction loop, so they purchased a portable one. And for their monthly meetings, they actually had members come early, put the induction loop up, and at the end of the meeting, they took it down, put it in someone's garage for the next meeting to do the same thing all over again, because it was so important to have the induction loop and the telecoil, and for people to be able to hear and be aware of what was going on with the meeting. We currently meet here at First Presbyterian Church of Sun City because they have made a commitment to support people with hearing loss. And so Swain Hall here has the induction loop. So again, if you have that telecoil in your hearing aid or your cochlear implant, turn it on and you will hear. If you don't have it and don't know what it is, that's one of the things that we do talk about in our education, and it is also something that you can ask any of the board members about, or it is something that you can ask a member and see if they use their telecoil for the meetings. Okay, and then we all know that our cart person is remote today, and she's been working on helping us get this cart working. So we continue to have a board that is dedicated to the West Valley chapter, to our vision statement, because every large organization has to have a vision statement. And ours was written many years ago by individuals who were in this chapter. And it is to provide awareness for community members that will be prioritized so that hearing wellness and services will be a fundamental component of health for adults with hearing needs. And we want to be connected to the community with support for individuals with hearing loss. We also use and follow HLAA National's mission statement. And you've heard me mention this a number of times, that we want to open the world of communication to people with hearing loss by providing education, information, advocacy, and support. And your board members have we met quite a lot this summer to expand on these statements. So in keeping a local chapter meeting vibrant, we believe there are some basic needs to address. And the first is to provide information to help each of you communicate better with your world and stay connected with individuals. The second task is to ask your help to seek out other people with hearing loss in our West Valley community who would benefit from our help. And the third is to ask for your help to run our chapter meetings. So we plan a variety of programs and information to help you communicate better. We bring experts in to inform us on topics that you have expressed an interest in, such as assistive technology, mental health and hearing, music and hearing, accessibility, and advocacy issues. And if there is a topic that you're interested in that we have not focused on, mention it to any of the board members. We will find an expert and have a presentation with that involved. We have a Facebook page. So there is information that is being shared on the Facebook page. It is HLAA West Valley AZ on the Facebook page. Oh, it's on the business, okay. And all of these websites and addresses that I'm giving you are on a business card that we'll be talking about in a few minutes, but you'll have all this information to share, because we don't expect you to memorize this, because even when I memorize it, I get it wrong. So the Facebook page is there, and we do add information that we hear about, that we find is interesting from maybe other people's blogs, and we also include information on the meeting dates and times. We also, a few years ago, we developed an HLAA website, and I should actually say the bulk of developing and maintaining that website was handled by, once again, our very creative secretary, Shannon Tyree. She handles that. And we'd like, we'd hope that you would take a look at that and use it to share with people too. Connectedness is one of our priorities, and we are working hard to reach out to everyone in our community with hearing loss. We are reaching out to local newspapers. Again, if you get a local newspaper and they have a calendar section, if you do not see anything about HLAA West Valley chapter in there, bring it to our attention. We will have someone contact them and see if we can get on their calendar list for programs. We also were in the process of connecting back again with the Sun City radio station, for those of you that live in Sun City, and they will also do a public service announcement talking about the meeting and when it is, and giving just general information about our chapter. But we need your help to find more individuals with hearing loss, to offer our support and encourage them to become members of the West Valley chapter. Now, when I say members of the West Valley chapter, a number of you have come up to me and have said, how do I join the West Valley chapter? Well, remember I said we're a local support group of national HLAA. So as it is right now, our local chapter is asking you to join national HLAA, because you will get the Hearing Life magazine, you will get a discount at the convention, which they have every year, and you will, I know there's one other reason why you should be joining, but I haven't quite found it here. But anyway, so we do not have separate local dues. So you're welcome to the meetings. Please come every time. Please bring someone every time. And as far as joining, actually, we ask you to join the national program. And each time you bring a new member, it brings a new story of someone on their hearing loss journey, and interesting lessons that we can all learn. I learn something every time from every one of you that I talk to, and I also learn that sometimes I have to go back and check information to make sure that what I knew in the past is correct and what I'm telling you now is accurate. Okay. And mainly when we share our connectedness, we know that we are not alone. So we're asking you to share flyers and business cards. And these, I believe when you came in, Shannon put them in the brown bag. So there are flyers and the little gold envelope with business cards in them that give the information about our chapter to connect with other individuals that you might run into. Okay, and so you may be saying, well, where else can I share these business cards? You can share them at your primary care physician's office. I am delighted that my primary care physician now has a sign that says, ask about scheduling hearing screenings. So primary care physicians are becoming more aware of that, and you can help them increase that awareness. In the past, we've had individuals take flyers to farmers markets. They are very open to having a flyer about hearing loss. And again, wherever you are or where you go is most helpful. Local coffee cafe shops and local libraries also are really great places to share that information. So let people know that there is a support group, and again, that we provide information, our mission, information, education, advocacy, and support for people with hearing loss. And the most important thing is that you're not alone with hearing loss. You're connected, and there are other people with hearing loss that can help you, and you can help them. Especially now with over-the-counter hearing aids, and there actually is getting to be more and more emphasis on hearing health. So let's be a part of that and share with people the information that you know and the support and the connections that you have gained with you. We have the materials. If you don't have enough, if you use all your business cards, make sure you don't just stop there. Come back and say, hey, I need some more. That was great. Because we have that information available, and we want to get it out and share it. We've also been reaching out in other ways. We as a chapter have provided a scholarship for a fourth-year AUD audiology student at Arizona State University in Tempe. Because these are the people that are helping us, right? Helping us get our cochlear implants mapped and helping us get our hearing aids set to the best hearing aid. What they have more difficult time is that extra support on, say, accessories. How do I get something to work a little better? Because we all know the hearing aid itself can only go so far, and that's where our information and education comes in. We help people provide that. We also provide scholarships to individuals who would like to attend the National Convention, the Hearing Loss Association of America, and I'm going to be talking about that in a little bit. So we provide scholarship for members to attend that convention. And then just this past year, we reached out to a high school senior, an individual with hearing loss, and we provided a scholarship for her to go on to continuing education, and she was going on to Gallaudet University. These are, just scholarships to let people know that we care and we want to be a part of helping people with hearing loss. Another way of our connection is the Hearing Loss Walk for Hearing. That is something that you will see on HLAA's national website. You'll see it on our website too. Arizona has had a Walk for Hearing for the past 8 years. This will be the 8th year. The Walk for Hearing is on Saturday, November 4th. It starts at 8 in the morning, and goes till about noon. We have a walk group. If you'd like to be a part of it, that's fine. If you'd like to start your own walk group, you could do that too. The walk group that we have is called Melanie and the West Valley Walkers. When you have a lot of groups like that, it's a good idea to put a name in there so you know which walk group you're talking about. So that's the only reason why my name got put in there. So that is also, even though that's a large fundraiser for national, we as a local chapter get a portion of those funds, so they're returned to our local chapter. And they are something that helps pay for our room rental, our cart here. So that's something to think about. Okay, and now to our third area of concern. We need individuals who are engaged and who come, and many of you come to all our meetings, and we love you for coming and for doing that. And we need some help with these meetings. We've had a big change besides COVID of having Zoom meetings to going back to in-person meetings. A number of our volunteers that have either been on membership or refreshment or greeters and sign-in have had chosen to return to the Midwest to live with their children. So they're no longer here in beautiful sunny Arizona. And so we lost a good number of volunteers. And so we are looking, I'm asking you, because these meetings are so important for support, we need your help. We need your help to keep them going. And you want to know what kinds of volunteer we need and probably what time of commitment. It's really not a big commitment. So it's helpful to have someone sit at the sign-in table so people know where to sign in, take their name tag, and move on. So it would be coming maybe 15 or 20 minutes before the meeting would start and being there to kind of make sure that the sign-in line moves along. We also would like to have someone at the refreshment stage. In the past, we've had a pretty fancy refreshment stage, so don't let that kind of put you off. It doesn't have to be a big special deal. It was something that our former member really enjoyed doing and kind of picked a theme for her refreshment table, but you don't have to worry about that. Just be there to, let people know there are refreshments and to take something, to have during the meeting. We also, in the past, have had a raffle, and that means giving a ticket, making sure that when people sign in, they get a ticket for the raffle. It also means like going in our box of raffle gifts and putting something together that would be kind of fun for our members to have. Many of these are items that we have gotten from actually the Arizona Commission for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing. We get quite a few little things from them. We also get some pretty nifty things when you go to convention. Many vendors give you different items, and they're kind of nice to pass along too. So that in itself is like 5 or 10 minutes, coming early, getting a couple bags together, making sure the coupons are there, the tickets are there to send out for the raffle. We also do need help in setting things up and then taking things down. That probably takes about 10 to 20 minutes before the meeting and after the meeting. So I'm kind of giving you a very general idea of the amount of time and would like you to consider helping, because as I said, we need your help for that. And lastly, I would like to say that we are so excited. All of your board members actually happened to attend this past convention in New Orleans for 2023. And we were greeted as we opened the program book, and we all go to the back of the book to see where the next convention is. And we had an inkling, but we didn't know for sure. But in 2024, the convention is going to be in Phoenix, Arizona. It's going to be at the Wild Horse Pass. It's kind of a different convention. They are looking at making it maybe family friendly, to spend that time, with family members and have something to do, rather than it is a big city. Many of the conventions in the past have been in big cities, where you could go to a baseball game or, go to museums or something like that. So National is looking at kind of changing up their conventions too. But the best part about the conventions is that you've got to come. You really have to, because everything is accessible, from small meeting rooms to large meeting rooms to the social event. There are induction loops in all of the rooms, and there is cart captioning for all of the presentations, and it's just a great experience. So I want you to remember that going alone can only take you so far. We need to connect and we need to communicate. And we want you to continue to join us for our chapter meetings and invite anyone that you know that would benefit from hearing about some connection and communication support. So I've mentioned a lot of things in this presentation. We do have a lot going on, and we love what we do. And we'd like to share that with you, and would also like to know that we need you to keep that connection and to get that communication going. So our presenter today is Christy Abrams. She is the Hard of Hearing Specialist with the Arizona Commission for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing. That is a state agency that provides so much information for people with hearing loss. It's truly amazing. Fred Williams and myself are commissioners for the Arizona Commission, and so we do hear information, and if you're looking at maybe being an advocacy worker, that might be a great area agency to contact, besides getting lots of information. So Christy is going to share with us information about her experience at this past convention, and probably will answer some questions about the Arizona Commission for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing. I know I talked a lot. Don't worry, this will never happen again. But it's so important for you to know that you are not alone. Let people know that there's support for hearing loss, and keep the connection going. Christy.
Thank you so much. Is everyone able to, is my microphone in a good spot? Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for this awesome invitation and for having me here today. It's so great to see all of you. Hopefully you recognize my face a little bit. I've been here in the past, but my name is Christy Abrams. I like to start with this slide. I don't know if we have any family members here that have typical hearing, but I love this slide because it gives you a little bit of an idea of what it looks like to be hard of hearing, and maybe you've never thought about it that way before. So I love little things like that that help us say, oh, I just never thought about it that way before. But I want to start with a little story. On my 52nd birthday, the commission reached out to me and said, would you like to join the commission? They offered me a position. And so it was the best birthday present that I ever had in my life. Historically, I had been a social worker, and I worked primarily in the field of aging, and I kept running into my boss, Michelle Michaels. I don't know if anybody knows that name, but she's my boss. And there was an opening for my position, so I couldn't imagine a better position, and I'm just very, very fortunate to be here and to be here with all of you. Okay, let's see here. There we go. Just a quick another nod to CART. CART is communication, access, real-time translation, and we usually call it captions. But I just want to make sure that everybody does know this is something that you can request for medical appointments. Your doctor would be required to pay for it. And if you're going to a really important appointment, maybe you're getting information about surgery, or you're really concerned about being able to hear the information, you can request CART, just like what we have here today. And then you can even get a transcript of the appointment. So I just want to make sure you all know that. Unfortunately, not all the doctors know that. So we're all a little bit, we have to put on our teacher hat, I guess. And when we teach for ourselves, there's so many that come after us that will also benefit from that. I don't know if I'm doing. Next slide, I can't quite get it to go. There we go. Okay, we might want to move the captions up just a little bit on the top, all the way to the top if we can. I try to make it, but you're not alone. Melanie mentioned that. Here in Arizona, this is what the picture looks like, in case you were wondering. There's more than 1.1 million people here in Arizona that are hard of hearing, just like us. 20,000 people here in Arizona, 20,000 to 25,000 people are culturally deaf. So we have different accommodation needs. And the reason I bring that up is because sometimes people put us all together and don't realize what hard of hearing people need in order to have effective communication. Look at the blue box up there with a bright yellow highlight. 60% of people over the age of 60 have some level of hearing loss. So we could not only fill this room, we could fill many churches all across the state. That's a lot of people, and so I'm hoping if you know someone else that has hearing loss, you'll invite them here. And because we tend to isolate, and we tend to try to do it alone. And one of the very best things that we can do is to connect with other hard of hearing people. If you have any grandkids, 20% of teenagers are now registering with some level of hearing loss. And can you imagine why that might be? Yeah, earbuds. I have a teenage daughter, and so I'm always saying, please keep the music low. But that's a staggering number. 20% of our teenagers now have hearing loss. And here in Arizona, we do the newborn screening test, so we know that 2.5 out of every 1,000 babies are born with some level of hearing loss. Okay, I'm gonna go to the next slide, but I don't think this is working, sorry, so I'm gonna. Sometimes we feel a little bit outside the fishbowl. That's what I think it's a little bit like. And it's really important to talk about the hard and hard of hearing. I'm going to say that one more time. It's important to talk about the hard and hard of hearing, because it's not easy. And so just coming to this meeting or being part of the book club or any time that you can connect with other hard of hearing people, we get it. And then we feel like someone understands, because we experience so many different feelings. It can be uncomfortable. We start to feel a little disconnected, maybe a little inadequate, misunderstood, frustrated, embarrassed, anxious, depressed, and isolated. But that's okay. The important thing is that we understand each other, and we do have these feelings. But when we share it with each other, it helps us to cope. Because these are all feelings that all human beings have for different reasons. And we can let people know that it's not that there's anything wrong with us. It's that we don't have access to the communication. So we're not broken, but the communication is. So we have to figure out how to make that better. And that's part of what this meeting helps us with. Okay, so a little bit on my experience. Being surrounded by people who understand, that's what the convention gave me. And last year, the convention was in New Orleans, and it was my first time in that city. It was a really cool city, and each year it's in a different city. And you heard Melanie say, next year it's here. We can all go on vacation together next year, so that'll be really fun. It provides an opportunity to make a tremendous impact on all of us. I really hope that you can come next year. But let me tell you a little bit about what it was like at the convention last year. Next slide. So here's a picture in New Orleans. You know, every year they really try to celebrate the city that you're in, and I'm sure they'll have a big nod next year to the Southwest. But we were in the New Orleans, and so we all got together. We went to museums, we had masks on, and we really did have a great time. And like Melanie said, it's all about being in a room where there's captioning and being in a room where there's a hearing loop, and it's accessible, so it's far more comfortable, and everyone there is hard of hearing just like us, so everyone gets it. All right, next slide, please. There was something for everyone at the convention. We had a huge exhibit hall, from hearing health experts to the latest in assistive technology. So there's a giant room full of vendors with all the latest and greatest gadgets, and a lot of really fun freebies and gifts that they give out. But we can experience technology and learn about all the different things that are available to us, because just in the past handful of years, technology has come really far. So this is a great opportunity for us to learn about it. Okay, next slide. Michelle is here. I'm in the orange shirt. This is Michelle Michaels. I told you about, my boss, but she presented for the Global Alliance of Speech-to-Text Captioning. And again, all the topics that they present on at the conference are all really relative and important and help us to feel like we're gaining really great information. Okay, next slide, please. At the convention, you can see here it's completely accessible. This is a huge room, but you're gonna have captioning, and you're gonna have access to a loop if you have a T-coil. And if you don't know, ask your audiologist. About 80% of hearing aids do have T-coils. So it's a great way to gain information and feel, for once, that you can follow along with everything that's happening. It's a really, I don't know, you feel a little bit like you're on your home planet. That's how I feel when I go. I feel like, why can't it always be this way? All right, next slide, please. They had great speakers. They bring in speakers from all over the country that are the top in the field and who share really interesting and engaging presentations. Dr. Childish is a famous audiologist, and she spoke. There's a picture here of Mr. John Waldo, unfortunately, who recently passed away, but he was a trailblazer in the field. So everyone that presents has something engaging to say and something where you're gonna leave feeling like you just understood and you've gained something really insightful. All right, next slide, please. There's a keynote speaker every year. This year, and if you could move the captioning down just a little bit, I just want to make sure I say her name correctly. Yeah, it was Renee Horton, and she's a PhD, a NASA physicist, and Space Launch System quality engineer. So she was our keynote speaker. She's hard of hearing, and she's also the author of this children's book. So it's just really fun to be there and to see people who have done amazing things. I don't think in spite of their hearing loss, but I think sometimes because of their hearing loss, they have gained some really great insight and superpowers, and because of their disability and learning how to find strength in that. All right, next slide, please. So here is a great photo. If you can see the little pink arrow there, there's Melanie and I were in the audience. And you can see all these people here that were all hard of hearing together, and we were watching the keynote speaker and just really, you can see, look, we're smiling because we have access. We have captioning. We were also in a looped environment. We knew what was being said and what was being shared, so we didn't feel left out or lost. So it's everybody there. You can see the big smiles. Everybody knew what was being said. All right, next slide, please. I'll give you an example of one of the presentations that I loved with Dr. Tina Childress. She was talking about how invaluable it is for the information when we get our hearing aids. Often we have to return. When we have a new pair of hearing aids, we may have to go back to our audiologist. Maybe we feel like these aren't working or something's not quite right. And she was explaining to us, be descriptive as possible. These are some of the, this is some of the things that we learn in the convention. How can we help our audiologists? Because they don't know unless we tell them. So it's a lot of back and forth communication. And this really made a big impact on me and how I can help my audiologist program my hearing aids to the best of her ability. She needs feedback from me. So that's just an example of what we can learn at a convention. I hope she does this one again in Phoenix. All right, next slide. This is really cool. There's some great books, and I know with the book club, if any of you have participated in the book club with Fred, you've touched on some of these books, but authors Sherry Ebert and Gail Hanna were there, and so I got to talk with them, and I'm a little bit starstruck because I love writing myself, and their book is wonderful. It's so funny. I don't know if anybody in here has read it, but usually many of the authors come to the convention and they're in the large room, and you can go and get a signed copy of the book and just meet them. So it's really pretty inspirational. Okay, next slide, please. So for me, what happened is someone came up to me and tapped my shoulder, and she said, "Do you mind if I sit here?" I was at a table by myself, and I said, "No, please sit down." And I turned around, and I was like, oh my goodness. It was the author. Her name is Catherine Boonton. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing Bhutan, thank you. And she wrote the book Shouting Won't Help, which is one of my favorite books. And I had a conversation with her at the convention. It's one book that I read quite a long time ago, and it really just touched me. And so she was sitting next to me, and we had this great conversation. So you never know who you're going to meet at the convention. There's lots of really fun people. Harry Wolf is here. He is part of Audible Talkers Toastmasters, and he invited me to share bayonets, which is like the fried dough with the powdered sugar. If you've ever been to New Orleans, they were delicious. So it's just a lot of fun. All right, next slide. This is one of my favorite memories. People you know in this photo. I was so fortunate. I was able to go to dinner with Fred and Pat and Melanie, and on the left it's Ron Tallman and Barry Forrest from the East Valley HLAA group. So we all were able to go out and share dinner in the city in New Orleans. So it was so much fun, and we sat in a quiet spot in the restaurant and talk about the different presentations we attended and what we enjoyed, and had a lot of laughs. So it was really fun. All right, next slide. So one of the things I always love to wind up with is teach others communication strategies and practices. This is so important. It's so easy to be frustrated. We feel like we want people to know what to do, but a lot of times people who have typical hearing, I don't really like the word normal, but people who hear well, they don't understand what it's like to be hard of hearing, and they don't always know what to do. So sometimes we have to be really specific, whether it be our doctor, our spouse, our children. I know even teenage children are really hard. But we have to tell people, please get my attention first, right? That makes all the difference. We have to create new habits. Even myself, when I talk to other hard of hearing people, I have to remember these things. Let people know I need 100% face-to-face communication, because if a nurse is walking away from me with a chart and talking to me as we go into the doctor's office, I'm not going to know what she said. So I have to let her know, I need to see your face 100% face. If we just say, I don't hear well, or I'm hard of hearing, they might be like, okay. They don't know what we need. So we have to teach a little bit. We might let them know I need to be within 6 feet. If you're too far away, I can't understand all the sounds of the speech. I can't understand what you're saying. Let people know that shouting doesn't help, because when we're hard of hearing, I have a high frequency hearing loss, which I've been navigating for 50 years now, and I don't hear the sounds of consonants. So if someone's shouting at me, the vowels are really loud, but those sounds, the consonants are still missing. So shouting does not help. Reduce background sounds. So if you're at the doctor's office or the dentist and they're playing music and they have a mask on, oh boy. So we have to let them know, the music is really loud and my hearing aids are pulling that in, and you have a mask on, so I'm just not able to understand what you're saying. We have to give them some details sometimes. It really helps if we have excellent lighting. That's really important. Sometimes we have to let people know, please rephrase that or add new clues. If someone says to us, I'm going to go to the store, I'm going to be like, what was it? But then they say, well, I'm going to go to Safeway or Fry's, and I'm going to get some milk or some bread. Do you need anything? Just a lot more information helps us to get what they're saying. But if someone just says, I'm going to go to the store, really quickly, we're going to be like, what? So it really is all about having strategies. Helpful strategies make a big impact. Speak one at a time. That can be really hard when we're with our family, but it really helps. Use captioning. I know if you have a smartphone, you can have an app. It won't be, what we have here today is CART, so a real live person is typing this, and it's the gold standard, and it's the most accurate. But on our smartphone, we can also use apps. I have an Android phone, and so when I go to my doctor, sometimes if I'm just there for a wellness appointment and I'm not getting information on a surgery, I can use my live transcribe to help me understand what the doctor's saying. It's quite accurate. It's not as good as CART. It just depends on the circumstances. But our smartphones can be really helpful. So that's really good to know about. Use captioning, use telecoils and loops, like Melanie said for the room here. We have a wonderful loop room that can go directly through our hearing aids with a T-coil. So whenever you do have new hearing aids, you want to make sure to have T-coil and Bluetooth. We need both. And know about Bluetooth. Does anybody in here Bluetooth to their smartphone from a couple of us? So for me, with my smartphone, I have Bluetooth, and my hearing aids have Bluetooth. So when someone calls me, it goes directly through the program in my hearing aids. I can't understand anymore without it. So I also use a captioning app for phone calls now too, which is really helpful. And if you need help with any of these things, that's why we're here. You just send me an email and we will set you up. Sometimes you just have to write it down. If someone's giving you an address or a phone number, those things can be really hard if someone's spelling something or giving you numbers. So you might just have to say, would you please write that down for me? I can't understand it clearly. And then just to be patient. All of these things help a lot. Okay, next slide. This is something that I'm just going to tell you. I know we don't probably have too much more time, but Gallaudet University needs your help. We are doing caregiver interviews for people who are deaf and hard of hearing, or Gallaudet University is doing it. So if anybody's interested in participating in that, we hope that you will. I can send you the link. But we've been working on that for quite a while, and we're not quite at our limit yet. But it just basically, they're asking questions for people who are deaf, hard of hearing, deaf, blind, and about your experience, especially with access to medical care and what that's like for you when you go to the doctor and things like that. All right, next slide, please. Save the date. This is something that's coming right up. I don't know if this is late at night, but it's good to know about. The Phoenix Airport does rescue, triage. They do different things at the airport so that they can learn ahead of time how to work with people who have different disabilities. So they have a pretend situation, and you can volunteer and go as a hard of hearing person, and then they have to figure out what do they need to do to communicate. There's people there with all different disabilities, and this is how they learn to best support people with disabilities. So that's something that's open to anyone if anybody's interested in attending. And next slide. This is something else that Michelle wanted me to tell you that's coming up in November, Dispelling the Myth, that's being put on with ASU, Project Humanities, Arizona State University, and the commission are working on together, November 30th. And it's just talking about being hard of hearing and helping people understand what that means. All of these dates I can give you if you want to send me an email. I just wanted to kind of let everyone know they're happening. Okay, and the next one. The Walk for Hearing. I know Melanie already told you about this. This is so much fun, and I hope if you can, you'll come out, and love to see you there. It's Saturday, November 4th in Mesa, and registration starts at 8 a.m. It's going to be a beautiful day. We've already checked the weather, and it's Arizona, but it's a lot of fun, so I hope you can come. Okay, and the next slide. This is what Melanie was telling you about. So next year, save the date. Here's where we can all go on vacation together. June 26th through the 29th at the Sheraton Grand at Wild Horse Pass in Phoenix. This will be the next convention, and I hope you can come. It's really an amazing experience, and I think this is going to be a little bit relaxing because we're in one location, a beautiful location, and there'll be a lot of time to connect with other people. All right, next slide. And that is it. And if you have any questions, I hope I've not run over too much on my time. But does anybody have any questions for me? Fred does. Hi, Fred.
Can anybody here contact you at any time if they have a question and they're not sure?
Absolutely. I want to make sure, can anybody here contact me at any time if they have a question? Absolutely. And I will get back to you as quickly as possible. I love email. My email's right up there, C. Abrams, right there. And I have cards too that I can give to everybody. But you can reach out anytime, and I try to get back as quickly as I can. And we are there Monday through Friday from about 8 to 5. We work home a couple days, and we're in the office a couple days. So for anything, even if you're like, I just don't know what to do about this, just email me, and I will do my best to try to find the answer if I don't know what it is. Yeah. Does anybody else have any questions? Fred?
Can you tell us just a little bit about Vicki Thompson and what she can do?
Yeah, absolutely. So Vicki Thompson, does anybody know Vicki Thompson? Couple of you. She's awesome. Vicki has been with the commission for almost 19 years, and she is, we call her the telephone lady. So she works for, the program is called the Arizona Telecommunication Equipment Distribution Program. It's a mouthful. But Vicki helps people to hear better on the phone. We have free assistive technology if you're hard of hearing and a resident of Arizona. We have amplified phones, some captioning phones. She'll help you download apps on your smartphone if you're interested in trying that. So we want to make, that's her goal. She really wants to make sure that people have access, the best experience on the phone. We also have alerting and flashing devices for your home that will light up, like if your doorbell's ringing or different sounds in the house that you might not be able to hear. We have assistive technology that will help with that. Any other questions? I hope that you will definitely think about saving your pennies for next June and come to the convention. It's really worth it. It's going to be a wonderful time, and hope that maybe you might come to the Walk for Hearing. Maybe you can carpool and I'll head over to Mesa together. It's really fun. And email me anytime for any reason, please, because I totally get it. I'm hard of hearing too, like I said, and so that's what I'm here for. So thank you, everybody. Oh, you have a question? Sure.
How did you lose your hearing? Born hearing loss?
Let me just check here. You have a question. I think you asked me how I lost my hearing. Let me just check here. You asked how I lost my hearing. Is that correct? Or was that the question? Okay. So when I was born hearing, and then when I was 6 years old, I had a really high fever and some type of virus. No one ever named the virus, and this is back in the 70s. But my mom decided to take me to the emergency room because I was just not doing well. And I can remember them packing me in ice, and so I was there for quite a while, I think almost 2 weeks. But I was sent home and they thought I was okay. They gave me really strong medication. I had the really high fever for quite a few days, and this unknown virus, I don't know. And I went, and it was in the summertime before first grade, and I remember going to first grade, and everything seemed different. But being 6 years old, I didn't know what it was. I just knew that my teacher was telling my mom I wasn't paying attention, and I was always daydreaming out the window, and I wasn't following instructions. And so it took about a year for them to figure it out, and I didn't know what was wrong because we don't know what we don't hear. I didn't really know what had happened, but I had lost, I have severe bilateral hearing loss, so that's what it was. And so that's when I started wearing hearing aids. But they only take us so far, because hearing aids aren't like glasses, right? I wish they were, but they help a lot, and our hearing aids are really important. They help to keep our brain healthy, help to keep us connected. So that's why you need to go back to your audiologist if they're not doing well, if you're not doing well with them, and see if she or he can make them better. The program that is in there, make it better, because that's really important to treat your hearing loss for sure. Yeah. Any other questions? Thank you, everybody. I look forward to seeing you. I recognize so many faces now, so don't forget my face and come see me at the Walk or any place, and email anytime.
Oh, thank you very much. Christy is always a pleasure to have here. I have to learn how to do this. First of all, what you've heard today is really important, that you keep socializing with other humans. I know that sounds a little corny, but I hate this microphone.
Here, try this. You can try this.
They're telling us.
I think it will pick up. If she stops captioning, you'll know she doesn't get the sound.
Okay.
Try it.
Okay.
Watch.
I don't like to stand in front of a microphone, and I really don't want to bore you, but we really encourage you guys to come back and see us. I think we can help each other. We can help you with things like the app on your phone today. They're real simple things. They can make a big difference. And if you haven't heard about them, you wouldn't know about them. And we have Shannon and Pat. Shannon's really good at this stuff. Everything I know I learned from her, except about football. And it really helps to be able to talk to other people who have problems like we do. You'd be surprised how much you'll learn from other people like us. All of us have been out there wrestling with hearing loss, and all of us, I think, have come up with some funny little technique that works for us that could work for you. And you're sitting there saying, well, like what? And I can't think of an example right offhand. I will in a minute. Next month we have a lady who can tell us about technology, about some of these gizmos that'll help us hear better or get captions better. I got to the point now where my hearing's so bad, I can't really talk to you guys in a crowd. And I do this. And I shove this thing in front of your face every time I try to talk to you, and I hate it. But I want to talk to you, and I want to know what you're saying. So this is one of the things that, as technology has improved, makes it easier for us to communicate with each other. And you really need to stay in touch with other humans. The medical community tells us about all the bad things can happen if you get isolated. And speaking for myself, there's days when I want to sit home and watch Hallmark movies or the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I know if I do that and get disconnected, it's going to make me feel worse and feel alone and just go downhill. And people die from this, believe it or not. And I'm not trying to scare you, but it's true. So you're saying, why are you telling us this? Well, so you'll come back to our meetings and work with us and let us hear your stories, and let us know, especially if you cannot hear us. If you can't hear me right now and don't know what I'm saying, please let me know sometime, because that's why we do this. We'll try to make it a little easier to talk to each other. We need to have some more technology we need to work on to get back to where we could have conversations easier, and so you can hear everybody's thoughts. With that in mind, if anybody at this point has a little story they'd like to tell about their experience, or a complaint about their hearing, or something they'd like to know about, you can, I'm going to bring the microphone to you. And while you're thinking about it,
Okay. I have one little story that made me feel good. We did some traveling, and on one of the flights, the stewardess, Fred pulled out his iPhone, and she was talking to him, and he showed her his captioning, and she asked the name of it, and then she went back, where they sit down, and she downloaded it onto her iPhone. So the next time she came through the cabin, she already had something working that she could use with him and anybody else. That was the first time somebody else took such a proactive, on her own to help. So I was like, wow, can I clone you? Can you put that in the training manual for the other stewardesses on an airplane? But it was a nice touch. So.
Okay, I have a quick thing, but I think you'll find it very recognizable. So my husband right now is working on a cruise ship on the Mississippi River, American Cruise Lines. And I am always talking to him and showing him things like Otter and Speechy and all the different kind of speech-to-text captioning items. Well, the new cruisers get on the cruise ship, and imagine this, so the night before they all stay together in a hotel, and then the coaches come and pick them up, right? They get on the boat starts leaving, and Tom, my husband, found out about this at dinner that night. So now hours have passed, they're 100 miles from the hotel room, and he was talking to this couple, and the man was really having a hard time, and Tom really recognizes that. He wears hearing aids. And guess what happened? he left his rechargeable hearing aids, the charger at the hotel, and his hearing aid, and now he was going to be on the river for a week, and they can't go back. Now they did call, and they were going to mail the charger thing back to him, but Tom, they of course had smartphones, and Tom, my husband, knows enough how much I preach about having Otter, the app. Just have it on your phone because you never know when you're going to need it. So he was able to share, and they downloaded that app, and the man was completely like, he felt like, oh my God, my whole vacation is not totally ruined. But I mean, we've all been there, right? We've all been to a place and our hearing aid batteries die and we don't have any, or I mean, it's just those kind of things happen. So the power of connection, right? We learn from each other. We learn about things like Otter. And just like Pat was saying, it's just, you never know how you're going to be able to affect someone. Okay, that's it.
Someone else?
Oh.
Why don't you?
So, Otter is an app that you download to your phone. So you got to go to the App Store.
It's also, isn't it on Android too?
Yeah, you can get
It is. Android, the best one on Android is Live Transcribe. So it depends if you have Android or iPhone.
Just so you can get in a loop. We're doing this because to take advantage of a loop, you have to speak in the microphone.
So if you have an Apple phone, an iPhone, you need to go to the App Store, and the word is Otter, just like the animal, O-T-T-E-R. And you search for that, and then you download it, and you get 300 minutes free. Fred wants to say something.
There's another choice here, by the way, and I just a little while ago worked with Inga and see how deaf I am. I don't know what he said.
Can you repeat that? I can't. Let me take a look.
He worked with us.
Yes.
He explained it to us. W-E-I-N-E-R.
Right now.
Warner. W-E-R-N-E-R.
Warner.
Oh, Warner.
There you go.
Got it.
Yeah.
Warner.
Warner.
Yeah. You got it right now.
Well, why didn't he say that? You know, one of the things about hearing loss, it really helps if you have a sense of humor, but it only goes so far. One other thing I was going to mention that I think I learned this from Shannon. If you have an Apple iPhone, it has captions on it. If you go to accessibility and hearing, we'll write this down if we'll get it out to you, but we just did it a little while ago for Warner and Inga, and now they have captions they can use right now without downloading anything. And it makes it just a little easier, and if you're not used to going to the App Store and doing all this, it's not hard to do, but it's the ones that Apple gives you are real easy to get. So there's a bunch of things like this that we can share that you guys probably figured out, or that we've heard about, or Shannon already knows. And it's one of the values of coming here and trading secrets. But okay, hey, we're coming up on our end of the game here, and we really want to encourage you to come back. We're going to get better organized, and this will go a little smoother. And we're experimenting today with the tables, which is a little strange, but we wanted to make it easier for everybody to get together and talk. And now we're finding out that the captions work better than we thought, even without this thing. So we're learning as we go along, and we're trying to make it easier. But most of all, please don't stay home by yourself. Please don't stay home by yourself. I've tried it, doesn't work. And come here and at least you get a little bit of refreshments. You hear our jokes, you learn something, and you meet other people. And that's better than staying at home. So,
I was just going to say thank you for your patience today. This was the one glitch that we never even thought would be a glitch. So we got it all worked out, and for tech guys, and we'll rearrange the tables a little bit easier. I do think there's a big benefit in having people all together. Before we put them together, people tended to spread out, so you never got to talk to anybody. Because that 6 feet rule, from what I've seen as a hearing person, is really important, and this takes care of it. So thank you.
Just for your information, last April, we had Joe Duarte come and speak. Joe Duarte is a CEO of InnoCaption. If you haven't heard of InnoCaption, we can talk about that sometime. InnoCaption is a cell phone service that gives you captions. You just have a regular conversation, captions come up on your phone. He was so popular and knew so much about it, they followed him into the parking lot. I don't know if there was a couple of people who followed him, wouldn't let him leave until they told him how to do it. It was in good humor. But it's amazing how some little things can make a huge difference in your day. Some little things like captions or telecoils or whatever, things you may not have heard of, things that I hadn't heard of. So please come back and see us. Next month we'll have a lady who's good on technology. She taught at Arizona State. And in December, we're going to have Matt Diller, who's the choir director for, he's a hard of hearing person. He's the choir director for the Sounds of the Southwest Singers. And he's interesting because he has a significant hearing loss and doesn't want to get cochlear implants because he's afraid he won't be able to hear music. You see how that works? See what kinds of things people are going through and how they overcome it. There's all kinds of tricks. You just have to find out what they are. So, I'm rattled on too long here. We'll see you next month. We'll have emails out. You're welcome to come to the book group, which is actually now becoming a chat session. And anything we can do to help, let us know. And if we don't hear from you, we'd like to hear whatever you think would be helpful to you, you'd like to learn more about. So, thank you for coming, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
And thank you, Jamie. Jamie is our captioner.